In the last 4 years since leaving England, we have crossed 2 oceans and sailed over halfway around the world.
Our circumnavigation of the world is on pause in Indonesia, on the edge of the Indian Ocean, as we wait out the global pandemic. After 4 months of lockdown, only able to go ashore on our isolated island, the restrictions have been eased. Now, we are allowed to explore the local area. After so long in one place, it feels incredible to be sailing again. Just moving round from one island to the next. There's a really narrow channel that should be deep enough for Florence through here, but the charts aren't very good. And the satellite images, unfortunately, Google took the picture when there was a cloud over this channel, so we haven't really got much to go on, but it's much shorter than going the long way round. And also, if we're going to be spending a lot of time in this area, it'll be really good to have our GPS track going through this narrow sheltered channel in case the wind gets up and we need to move. It would be a really good thing to have. If we've got a really good track through it, we can even go through it in the dark if we have to. So we're just going to take it slow, not really much choice in that because there's very little wind, and see if we can fit through. Okay, that's a good course there. Got lucky, a nice little bit of breeze has appeared. We set off in about 5 knots, we've now got about 9 knots, so we're actually managing to sail at a reasonable speed. Got about 6 miles to go to our next anchorage. See the reef just on the right hand side here. We're just skirting around the edge of it before we get into the channel proper. Looks like a bit of a rain squall on the horizon, which would be a really bad news for us. The rain on the water means you can't see the colours of the reef below to navigate and avoid it. We call this eyeball navigation. Now, when we first set out and we heard of eyeball navigation, i.e. you're going somewhere where the charts are inaccurate and you're just navigating using your eyes, we were really scared because back in England where we sail in the Solent, the water is so murky that you've got no chance of seeing a sandbar or anything that you're going to hit. The first time we really had to do it was in the South Pacific, in amongst the atolls of French Polynesia in the Tuamotus, and there you really have to watch out, but the water is so clear you can really see the colour changes between the deep water and the reef. Up until that first point we were really nervous going there, and now it's just second nature. We very rarely trust the charts. We're so used to looking out, and we're often in waters that are so clear that it is easy to see the colour change between the deep water and the reef, as long as you're wearing polarised sunglasses.
Yeah, we've learned to trust our eyes more than the charts in these sorts of places.
Yeah, charts are only a rough guide, not to be trusted. Some of them were last updated in Captain Cook's time, so they're not that accurate. They definitely weren't done with GPS.
In the last anchorage, our friends on another boat were actually anchored on the land according to the chart, so that's how accurate they actually are.
That's the anchorage we just came from, so if they're inaccurate over there, when we go through this narrow channel, we could quite possibly be sailing over the land on the chart.
Not the only boats using this shortcut, although their boats don't draw as much as we do. Quite a few villages around here all go to the main town of Tello to get their fruit and veg and stuff. And the little local boats are all these sort of canoes with double outriggers.
here comes the rain, just when we don't want it. Well, the wind completely died with the rain, so we're having to motor, but it's really calm, so we can just go slow, and actually this channel's pretty wide, so it's not too much of a problem.
As we came out of the channel, the rain passed through and the wind came back, so we switched off the engine and unfurled the sails once more.
For us, sailing is freedom. The last 5 months have been up and down for us emotionally, as we've struggled with the uncertainty of our situation here in Indonesia. All that came to a head around the time we made the video Pirates, Storms and COVID, How Do We Get Home? Now, having a small amount of freedom to sail and explore the local area has helped us to refocus on the positives of where we are. This is going to sound cliche, but since then we have completely changed our mindset. We are no longer constantly looking at how we move on. Instead, we are widening our eyes to what is around us locally and looking to see how we can make the most of being here. Instead of being stuck, we have an amazing opportunity to live in this part of Indonesia with its smiling, friendly population, beautiful island anchorages, and world-class surfing.
So we've just come to join the other yachts that are isolated here with us in this anchorage because it's someone's birthday, so we're all going to get together on the beach, hopefully. But it's nice to be back with everybody again. We've been out on our own for a few days now.
This group of boats have been isolated here with us for the last 5 months. Together we've shared the highs, lows and uncertainty of sailors far away from our home ports during the COVID crisis. Although with the easing of restrictions, we've all spread out to explore new anchorages, all it takes is a call on the radio to have us regrouping for a birthday party on the beach.
Think we're good?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Sailing around the world is not the lonely experience that many people think it would be. Whenever we drop anchor next to other cruising boats, we already have so much in common to talk about that making friends is easy. Everyone has visited exotic places, weathered storms and suffered broken boat parts. On top of that, it's a small world and we usually have other cruising friends in common too.
The other ones
the water's beautiful up here as well, but they're not too small.
Potluck dinners on the beach are a staple of the cruising sailor's diet. Far easier than hosting a dinner party on board, the invite is put out on the radio. Everybody invited, on the beach, 5 p.m, bring a dish and whatever you want to drink. With sailors from all nationalities, there's normally a dish that you've never tried before, recipes to swap, and cries of, "Where did you manage to get that ingredient from around here?"
Here in our group we have 19 sailors from 4 nationalities, ranging in age from Amy at 33 to others at 70 plus. Boats ranging from our Florence, a 37-foot monohull, to a 50-foot catamaran. But no matter where we all come from, what backgrounds we have, or what type and size of boats we sail, we are all sailors and have so much in common.
There's a lot of challenges to life out here in remote areas that you possibly wouldn't realise. Now, one of those for us is how we pay for things. Everything here out in remote Indonesia is cash based. You can't use your credit card anywhere. So we need to have a source of cash, but there's no cash point that accepts international cards on this island. The nearest one is 50 miles away on another island. So today, Amy's mission is to get cash. To do that, she's got to go on a 2.5-hour ferry trip each way just to get to the cash point. Not quite as easy as it would be back home.
Both the anchorages in Tello, where I was leaving, and Teluk Dalam, where I was heading, are not sheltered enough for us to be comfortable leaving Florence at anchor for a prolonged period of time. Hence the reason for splitting tasks for the day. Plus, if you have to motor somewhere, you may as well do it at 25 knots rather than 5. In Teluk Dalam, the movement of the ferry at the dock shows just how much the swell gets into this bay, swell which would have been very uncomfortable on Florence. Travelling alone in a busy town as a foreigner during a time when foreigners are often believed to bring COVID can be challenging. Especially when you seem to be the only non-native in town that day. Few people speak English, and my Bahasa only gets me through a very basic conversation. Luckily, I've learnt enough to explain that I've been in Indonesia since the start of the pandemic, and will not be paying 10 times the going rate for my taxi fare. The packed and busy town is a culture shock after 5 months in isolation. I eventually found a cash point that took international cards, only to have all cards declined. Cue a long phone call to our bank on the other side of the world, in the quietest corner I could find, away from the political rally happening outside. Success! That one gave me $1 million. After several transactions with multiple cards, I managed to get enough cash to last us for the next few months, and just had enough time to buy a few provisions that are not available on the island where Florence is, before hopping back onto the ferry for the return trip. The ferry ended up being on island time and didn't get back into Tello until after dark.
Cool. Did you get the cash though?
Yeah. Man, that was a full-on day. I didn't even get a chance for any lunch, and I think I was stood at the cash point for the whole day. But I managed to get millions, a few million. Unfortunately, $1 million doesn't last us very long in Indonesia because our visa extensions are about 1.5 million a month. The ferry cost me 400,000, and I spent about 2 million getting some provisions that we can't get here in Tello. So I managed to get some exciting things like peanut butter and oats and even cooking chocolate. But I've come back to a much cleaner boat, and Matt's spent the whole day doing maintenance, so we're in a much better place. But yeah, a whole day just achieving a couple of like things that if I was still living in a house I would have got done in about an hour or so. Boat life is slow.
And hard work.
And hard work.
And
yeah.
tiring.
And tiring. Yeah, I'm pretty tired now.
So that's great. Now we've got some cash, we can actually restock Florence with some basic food provisions from here. And there are some beautiful islands not far from here, more remote, and we're really excited to get out there and start exploring some of those. Next time, despite less than perfect weather conditions, we do get out to explore those amazing islands. And boy, is it worth it.
We'd like to thank everybody who supports the making of these videos, especially our star patrons.
Your support makes a huge difference to our ability to share these videos. If you'd like to join the crew and support us on Patreon, please follow the link above.
We post a new video every other week, so if you want to catch the next one, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell.
And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the video to get noticed by the YouTube algorithm and get shown to more people.